Hello, everyone. Welcome to Town of Barnstable's formal site plan review. Today's date is May 16th, 2024. My name is Brian Florence, and I'll be the chair for this meeting. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30, Section 20. I must inquire if anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, make your presence known. All right, seeing none. This is being conducted in accordance with the Town of Barnstable zoning ordinance, section 240, 24.1.2.b4, which requires that development and modification that meets or exceeds the thresholds established in subsection B4A, downtown Hyannis zoning district shall be reviewed by the building commissioner or his designee at a public meeting at which public comment shall be allowed. The purpose of site plan review is to ensure that the site plan for a proposed development is in compliance with local, state, and federal regulations before the project is submitted for permitting. To that end, this meeting brings all of the town's regulatory agencies together in one place, so you don't have to go from department to department in order to try to understand what's required of you in order to obtain a permit. While we may, as a courtesy, provide insight into what regulations may apply to your project during the permitting process, such as building permits, building code stuff, plumbing, licensing, this process should not be construed to be an approval of those activities as they're regulated elsewhere. This is strictly about the site plan. The way this process works is we will read your case into the record. You as the applicant will have an opportunity to give a brief presentation. From there, I'll ask for staff comment and/or questions. Once staff has completed their portion of the meeting, I'll open the floor to the public for comment. Please raise your hand or indicate through Zoom that you wish to be heard. Please mute your microphone until you're called upon to speak, and we ask that you state your name before speaking for the record. If you need to share your plans, we've made arrangements for you to do so. If you don't know how to do that, just let us know, and we'll be happy to assist you. If you're going to share your screen, just please let us know in advance so you don't disrupt the meeting. Maggie will be taking notes of this proceeding. We'll provide our applicants with a letter outlining any outstanding matters or conditions that need to be addressed. So please don't feel like you have to take copious notes. That is our housekeeping stuff. And Maggie, if you would like to read our one and only case into the record today, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, our only agenda item today with public comment is site plan review 24-17 for SHI Realty Trust, represented by Matthew Eddy and attorney David Lawler. The address is 199 Barnstable Road in Hyannis, map parcel 310-331. The zoning is downtown Main Street, as well as the WP overlay. The proposal is for the demolition of the Sprinkle Home Improvement Building and construction of 4 three-story multifamily housing buildings with parking lots, landscaping, and lighting. Previous dwelling and garage structures have been removed.
Great, thank you, Maggie. And who would like to start today?
I'm going to kick it off here, Brian. Would it be okay if I share my screen?
Yes, please.
All right, can everyone see that okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, great. For the record, Matthew Eddy, professional engineer with Baxter & I Engineering and Surveying, representing SHI Realty Trust and the ownership team of Brad Sprinkle and Tim Tellman. On the meeting with us today is attorney Dave Lawler, John Lafreniere, the architect, and Rick Finuccio as owner's rep. As Maggie stated, the project before you is for a demolition of the existing office, warehouse, and construction yard of the Sprinkle Home Improvement site and construction of 4 new 3-story buildings with containing 45 apartments. So with that, I'm going to just walk through the existing site conditions relatively quickly. Address, as stated, is 199 Barnstable Road in Hyannis. The lot area for the project is 1.16 acres. It is all upland. There are no wetland resources on the site. There is significant frontage of this project, 200 feet, over 200 feet of frontage along Barnstable Road, and almost 300 feet of frontage along Grove Street. The site is bound by commercial development to the south, north, and east, and there are residential and vacant uses to the west. This is actually vacant parcel here, which I believe is owned by, I think that's owned by the town. Again, as I stated, there's no environmental features on the site. The site is in a state zone 2 wellhead protection area. Zoning is DMS, downtown Main Street. We do have groundwater protection and wellhead protection overlay districts. It's mainly GP district. The existing buildings, which are situated here, contain showroom, office, warehouse, workshop. The site has historically been used as a contractor's building and yard for the sprinkler home improvement. There were previously 2 buildings here as well that you can see as dashed lines that have been removed previously. Access to the site, very multiple long curb cut entrances, I will say. This is basically just a full paved access way here onto Barnstable Road, where cars would actually be backing out onto Barnstable Road. There's a long gravel way along the frontage on Grove. That is for there's parking and entrances there as well. And then there's also a gravel entrance over here to the south that is served by the private way on the south side of the property. Existing parking lot along Barnstable Road, as I mentioned, which backs out onto Barnstable Road in the gravel area over on Grove Street. Utilities, the site is connected to public water and sewer. There's limited to no drainage on site, and the site is served by overhead utilities for power and data communications. With that, I'm going to jump to the proposed layout. So the proposal is to raise all the structures that remain on the site, construct the 4 buildings that you see here, 3-story residential. 3 of these buildings contain 12 units each, and the 4th building here contains 9 units. The footprints are approximately 2,500 square feet each, totaling 45 units, and all the units are 1-bedroom units. From a zoning review standpoint, in the DMS district allows the multifamily use that is being proposed. As was discussed through formal, this is a by right project, so no special permit is needed. And we are before you today on the formal site plan requirement under the zoning ordinance, and notice was made to abutters within 300 feet of the project. From a historic standpoint, just to the age of the structure, there was a filing to Barnstable Historic, and they did approve the removal and demolition of the existing building. From a zoning perspective, the proposed buildings meet all the building setbacks. 100% impervious coverage is allowed by zoning. The GP overlay allows 50% impervious, and we are meeting that through the combination of providing pervious pavers. That results in just under 50% of impervious coverage. 80% of the primary frontage along Barnstable Road is met as part of the zoning requirement, and we are A&Ring small subdivision of this little triangular area here, so that would not be part of the project, so the frontage is calculated along here. Again, a very unique shape of the lot here. From an access standpoint, significant improvement. Closing of all of this paved curb cut that backs out into Barnstable Road. So asphalt will be removed, landscaping added. The gravel access and parking and so forth that was in this area is all being removed, and one centralized access for the main 3 buildings here off of Grove Street. And then we provide, coming off of this private right-of-way, the existing gravel drive that comes into this lot is being improved for the parking lot here. Through title search by the owner's attorney, the applicant does have rights within the private right-of-way for use of as a road in all aspects that go with this. Is a recorded easement document, which I do have if I need to show you that. From a parking standpoint, there's 45 parking spaces required, and we are providing 45. 3 handicap spaces are provided throughout the site. Again, parking setbacks, landscape ratio, and tree counts are all met. We're providing 12 interior parking lot trees, which let me just jump to the landscape plan real quick. And then for the street trees, because there's overhead lines and we have, the zero frontage here along Grove Street, as coordinated with Kate at Planning, we're going to be coordinating with her and with the tree warden to provide the 20 street trees, but we'll coordinate with them as to location, et cetera. Hawk Design will be the professional landscape architect on this that will be stamping the plan, and that'll all be submitted prior to the building permit application. Pedestrian circulation is provided throughout the site. Again, access out to Grove Street, access through the site and out to Barnstable Road, and then there's the existing public sidewalk along Barnstable Road on our side of the road project. A small amenity area is going to be provided, which will be, picnic tables and just, gathering area, similar, this place for people to come and enjoy the outside. As far as trash enclosures, there are trash enclosures that are located at the end of each building, and those will just be handled by totes. Those are fully enclosed and screened. Fire access, let me jump to the turning template plan. So fire access as reviewed with Captain Landman is found to be acceptable. Here's the access for the tower truck coming up of Grove Street. Here is access off of Barnstable Road into the private right of way and the 9-unit building here. In review with Captain Landman, we did widen the paved access area to 17.5 feet, as was discussed through the informal site plan review process. From a drainage standpoint, we're providing a fair amount of drainage. We have 3 rain garden areas that then provide pre-treatment and then go to underground infiltration Cultex. We have reviewed all of the project, including the stormwater comments that DPW had. That was reviewed with Matt, and I believe we have addressed all of his comments and he's found everything to be approvable. From the utility standpoint, again, a significant improvement and benefit to the town here. Water, there's no water in Grove Street. There's a 2-inch line that comes from the south and ends about here. So as part of this project, in coordination with Hans over at the Hyannis Water District, the project is going to extend a new 8-inch water main tying in at Barnstable Road, tying into the dead end 2-inch that will then provide a looped water service, and then all of the domestic and fire services for the buildings here will come off of that new line, and the existing or proposed, domestic and fire services for these 2 buildings fronting on Barnstable Road will come off of the water service in Barnstable Road. As part of this 8-inch extension, we are also providing a new fire hydrant on Grove Street, which is in the right of way, so that is a public fire hydrant. So again, a good public benefit there. Extending of the sewer off of Barnstable Road, serving all the buildings, fairly straightforward on that. Addressed a few comments that Matt had at DPW. So again, I believe we're all on the same page for that. All of the electric service coming into the site will be underground. There are 2 ground transformers proposed. Those have been identified to have a containment system per the Eversource details as requested by DPW. And just with that really wraps up the presentation from the site standpoint, and just kind of a quick summary. A limit as far as the benefits of the project: elimination of the older buildings, providing significant landscaping, closing significant long continuous curb cuts, providing the water main extension and the hydrant, and providing needed housing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Lafreniere to just walk through the architecturals relatively quickly. And John, I can share my screen, or do you want to share yours? John?
Mr. Lafreniere.
So I got it. Sorry, I
You
was
wanted-
speaking and unheard. Yeah. So yeah, you can. I think we can go through yours probably with that. So
Who would you like to start?
why don't you start with the building plans? Yeah, yeah. So this is typical of the 12-unit buildings. There's one handicap unit on the ground floor of each of those, and the rest are, you can see the units, they're pretty straightforward, simple. There's a common entry with a stair that serves 2 units on each side, and then the stair goes up 3 floors. There's an additional stair that goes up into the through the attic to a flat roof, which is then is going to be solar ready. So it's each one of these buildings of 12 units are basically sets of 6, which are paired together. And there's an offset in the elevation to just to sort of define that. And you can see here the solar ready roof thing. And then this is, yeah, so you can see how that works. The access and the AC units are actually concealed behind essentially a safety fence, but it sort of has it's a sort of memory of a widow's walk. The buildings themselves, though they're 3-story buildings, they have we have these gable ends, which then make the 3rd floor appear as essentially a continuous dormer, but there are offsets in that to break that up, which you'll see in the renderings. The street sides have more windows than the interior side, so it's a very lively elevation on the main on both Grove and Barnstable Road, and those will be bright and nice for the units. The units, which you didn't see in the plan, but they're through units, so each unit has a it's a through space in the living room, which is nice. So you're getting light from both sides, both the east and west. So these are, I think, are going to be actually quite nice units. They're modest in size, but I think they're going to work out well. You could actually move on to the renderings, and I can talk a little bit about how they. So just quick look at the renderings. You can see how they face on the street. There's the top floor is slightly different. It's a sort of gray tone. The others are different. We're planning slightly different colors. They're all within the recommended historical shades of Main Street. And as you can see, and then we've got nice little porch roofs that just give a little shelter as you enter the building. So I think they have a nice residential scale, and they form essentially an interior space, which is largely parking, but because of the stormwater management and then that'll actually appear less like a big paved lot than a more interior landscaped area. I think you can get a sense of the flavor of it, and maybe that's sufficient for me to say.
Yep, and I'll just add that the fenestration calculations are on the plan that show that the fenestration meets the zoning requirements as well.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Great,
Thank you.
with that, I think we turn it back over to staff, and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Eddy. All right, Maggie, have we received any correspondence on this matter?
No additional correspondence, Brian.
Great, thank you. Planning and development, please.
Thank you, Brian. Kate Maldonado. Going to read in the comments that have been presented to date for the record. An A&R, an approval not required plan, is required for the lot line adjustments. Because this proposal met the threshold of formal, the applicant has provided notice to the abutters, and that proof of mailing has been uploaded for the record. Thank you. The property is not in the Main Street Waterfront Historic District. However, the property is in the design and infrastructure plan, and so we've asked that the applicant confirm compliance with those guidelines. A notice of intent will be required from the Barnstable Historical Commission due to the age of some of the structures to be demolished. The amount of units meets the requirement of our affordable requirements, and therefore a minimum of 10% or 5 of the units shall be deed restricted. And then lastly, because of the scale of this project, a landscape plan shall be submitted to be signed by a registered landscape architect, and financial security shall be provided prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maldonado. How would you like the compliance with the infrastructure design presented, and when?
If that can just be defined on the site plan, I was just trying to open it to verify, but my computer was locking up. That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Hyannis Fire, please.
Good morning, Brian. Tim Landman, Hyannis Fire Prevention.
Morning.
We have no real new comments on this at all, other than what was discussed in informal, just for the record, to go over some of our asks on this. Probably the biggest one for us was the widening of the private right-of-way, which seems to be adequate for us. Most everything else will be addressed during permitting regarding fire protection components of the building in consultation with their contractors for placement of certain equipment. And we're also going to have a require a third-party review for BDA testing, bidirectional amplification, and the construction control documents to include fire protection in their narratives. Otherwise, that is it for us at Hyannis Fire. Thank you, Brian.
Great, thank you. Public health, please.
Thank you, Brian. The only comment we have is they'll need to register the rental units. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. DPW engineering.
Thanks, Brian. Nick Cleany, DPW Engineering. The project will require a road opening trench permit, a sewer connection permit, and a stormwater management permit prior to commencing construction. Any address changes or updates will need to be coordinated with DPW Engineering. As Mr. Eddy had mentioned during his presentation, any tree removal or plantings within the public right-of-way will need to be coordinated with the DPW tree warden. And any new constructed sidewalks or damaged constructed sidewalks during construction activity should be constructed to the town of Barnstable DPW standards. That's all.
Great, thank you. And for building code purposes, it'll be, permits will be required for each building, including demolitions. This will be a construction control project. So you'll need an architect on board, which we already have. And any signage, please, development signage or construction signage will need permits through the building division. And this may require third-party review, but it'll be at the developer's expense, or we bring in a third party to help with the plan review work. So with that said, any final comments from the developer?
I think we're good, Brian. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Staff, does anyone here see any reason why this matter cannot proceed to permitting? All right, I'll open this up to public comment. If there's anybody in the public that would like to comment on this project, this is your opportunity. Please let me know. Miss White. Unmute, there you go.
Good morning.
You've got a very serious echo. You have two devices on. Please turn one of them down.
I can't hear you. Good morning. My concern is on the private way. Where is the entrance going to be? We have a business that abuts this, and it's very busy, as well as residential.
We will make a copy of that plan available to you, ma'am, so you can see where that is.
Okay.
Anything else?
All right. When does this expect to start?
That's gonna depend on permitting, so I don't think there's a date that we can give you at this time.
Do we know how long it will take?
This is for public comment. It's really not a back and forth, but we'll ask Mr. Eddy, can you tell us generally when you think this is gonna start and how long the project should take?
Yeah, I believe, we want to get construction going, I'd say by September, hopefully at the latest, August, September, but likely September, just with the construction documents that have to be prepared. And then duration, I'm going to actually, John Lafreniere, do you have
yeah, sorry, it's just unmuting. I would say something in the order of a year, I think should be, and it should come to completion about then.
Great,
It-
thank
it-
you.
And
The-
if I may
yeah.
comment, because obviously people, as a business owner, that in Cape Cod, this is Attorney Lawler, that if the construction starts in September, the major the next summer is mostly internal work, mostly things that are maintained on the site and less cumbersome for the neighborhood. Most of the building will be buttoned up tight. The lot, the parking lot will be mostly completed, substantial heavy equipment. It's that finished carpentry work is less intrusive in the neighborhood. So obviously you're a business person and have concerns about the summertime. So just to let your fears, and are legitimate. I mean, construction can be a hassle, and I know the owner is a contractor and he understands that, and these professionals understand and try to accommodate and make sure that everybody is inconvenienced to the least bit of possible.
Thank you all. Ms. White, is there any other
Nope,
questions?
that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I would find this matter is approvable and able to proceed to permitting. Thank you all for your time, and Ms. White, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian, and everyone. Have a great day.
Great, thank you. Staff, thank you for your time and attention to site plan review. That concludes site plan for today. Have a great day.